Incremental greetings. So there's a new video from Piotr Wozniak, and once again, it's really hard to follow. If you're a noob, or you're kind of unfamiliar with SuperMemo, chances are you're not going to follow what's going on. So my goal of this video, reaction video, is to do this more friendly. First, the overarching point of this video, the motivation, is to showcase one new feature. So when you copy text from an LLM, then you copy. Do you see that you don't get the bolding? You get the what's called Markdown syntax. So Markdown to asterisks means bolding. So new feature parses this Markdown and converts it back to HTML by right-clicking the XML component, text convert Markdown. Then what happens here doesn't say anything. In the description, the steps, but even a page in SuperMemopedia. Okay, but first, I don't see this, right? If you don't see this option, it's because you're using SuperMemo 1901, or something like that. This has been introduced in 1907. Then just go to SuperMemo. In my case, now I'm using 1907 from December. 1908 has this as well. This build is precisely not public, so don't know the exact version that was public. But just to let you know that if you don't have this version, you won't see that feature at all. So you will need to update. How you can update? Easy. I will do it. Now that I actually need to update, I don't have the 08. So close down SuperMemo. Make sure it's not running. And now you need to run this SM19 inst. What you can do, as I have done before, is that I want to keep this. So that's a national step. I compress it, so now this is my copy of 1907 because I will install the new one. But I cannot pinpoint which version I want to install. I can only install, if I click, the latest version. So just in case I want to have full control. Next, in this case, do you want to click install? This will be true if you want each subversion on its own. Usually that won't be the case. So click on next, next. Depends if you want this, those icons, but that's the key. Do you see now it's connecting? And it said, I will have to pause this in the editing. It said the version that installed, but it's so quick that you don't see it. And now we run it. For whatever reason, beyond my understanding, they changed the logo. What happened? That now is a new executable file, so every time that you update, you will be losing this, among other things, the layouts. There's a trickery you can do. I won't do it in this video. So we'll do it the legal way. That is just doing it manually once again. Okay, so quickly I did my own. So layout, save as custom layout, and we'll call it laptop. In my case, I'm not into laptop, but that's the word I actually use. Nice. So now if I go to help about, hey, I'm using this version, 19.08. 3 weeks more up to date, and for whatever reason, with a different splice screen. So now you know how you can install any subversion. Not just the 19, but 19 point whatever. Actually, you cannot. You can only install the latest release. You cannot pinpoint which one you want exactly. That's why I have this strategy. So now I accumulate each subversion. For instance, I lost the 06, but well, not a big deal. Now I will open my collection. So what I did is this. I asked ChatGPT what's incremental reading. It actually worked. Sometimes for whatever reason it doesn't work. So let's pretend that I copy this. And in this case it works well. But as Piotr experienced, sometimes it happens that it pastes in plain text, or even here in the answer, you get the plain text version of Markdown. It's not rendered. If that's the case, then this feature is for you. Now I will cheat my way, and I will force this to be plain text. Nice. So what I need to do to convert this, that is Markdown, to HTML is click on the HTML component, right click, text, convert, and Markdown. It says convert Markdown language used by AI bots to HTML. Do you want to convert ChatGPT format to HTML? Yes. And here you go. You restore it. It's not a major change, but hey, good to have. But it's sad that how it's implemented, it's just partially implemented. I actually tried to import one Markdown file from GitHub, the FSRS documentation, and then I used this convert Markdown, but you can see that the links are not converted. So I got the bullet points, the headers, but the links don't work, and there's all the syntax like tables that doesn't work either. So it's a new feature, good to have, but it's not ready for me. I mean, for the bolding and the headers, most of the time for language models, that's enough. But if I have a table and so on, But other than that is, hey, there's a new feature of Markdown. I want to import stuff, I don't know, from Obsidian that uses Markdown. It won't work. At least for now. And now let's go point by point to follow what he's doing.
Perhaps this item came from even older text from the year 2002. It's very neat. It's probably correct, but it's a bit surprising.
By the way, this date is not the date of the element, but the date of the source. February 3rd, 2002 is the source. I can import this today, and the source will be the same date. When this was created, I don't know.
Elevation of tau protein and decrease in amyloid beta in cerebrospinal fluid are useful biomarkers of Alzheimer's disease.
So we won't go into details that what is this because it's his own stuff. So he knows what the acronyms are and so on.
If this becomes hazy in your memory, you may wish to refresh it. So we can use artificial intelligence to do it efficiently and fast, instead of searching for long Wikipedia articles.
Exactly. You can ask ChatGPT, Copilot, or any LLM. Claude. I prefer Claude. What happens is that the usage is very limited, but is the best quality possible. You also have Perplexity, super quick, and with search, online search, among other perks. But yeah, it's not limited to ChatGPT or Copilot. Perhaps what happens is that this feature has only been tested for ChatGPT and Copilot outputs. I think that will be the case. It's kind of assumption based on knowing Piotr.
Also, maybe Alzheimer's articles, science-based things, which could be reels and reels of text. We just want to refresh that one thing. What's the connection between the amyloid plaques accumulating in the brain and the lower level of amyloid in the... So I'll use Bingo. Beta is a problem in Alzheimer's. Why is there a decrease in CSF?
Exactly. So you just ask the question you want, you get like more verbose or less verbose, and you can put this answer back into SuperMemo.
I quickly get a nice answer. I'll copy that to SuperMemo.
And sometimes this is what happens. You don't get the HTML, but the Markdown in plain text.
I'll apply my Copilot template to need a reference.
This step is purely optional. Good to know that Piotr Wozniak has created many specific templates for Bing, item and picture, ChatGPT, I may assume topic and then topic picture for ChatGPT. There's no requirement, even if it's templateless. You just right click and do the same thing. And the perk,
it's a good reference.
So for him, it's like convention to convey the source. So even if I don't have anything showing me this, or even if I will even tell you more. Here I don't have any source. But if this was from a Wikipedia article, but I extended through a chatbot, I also know, this doesn't come from Wikipedia. Why? Because now I have this template, it looks almost the same, but this is my ChatGPT, so I will do it for real. So color, I will do this more or less reminds of ChatGPT or OpenAI. Template, save as template. Now ChatGPT, I'm telling that this text, from whatever says here in the sources, it's not true. It's for ChatGPT. How do I know that? Because of the template. It says ChatGPT. Or I could have my convention and do something like that. So I just rely on the text. Depends on you. If you use a text, you will need to do the search. If you want to group, to filter those. Then you want to filter whatever you have from ChatGPT. Search, and you go to template registry, locate ChatGPT, and list or browse. And you get all of the elements. Good. Especially if you are mixing different LLMs and you want to keep track of that. It's a really, really good touch.
Delete some fluff.
Yeah, fluff usually is at the end or the beginning. Oh yes, I will do what you requested me, da 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 da. Or please ask me, da 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 da, something like that.
Perhaps convert Markdown for nice formatting.
Exactly. He always goes way too quick. Way too quick.
Markdown.
Do you want to go over ChatGPT format to HTML? By the way, there's no ChatGPT format. ChatGPT is using Markdown, which is a standard. But he used Copilot because at the end of the day, Microsoft Copilot is using ChatGPT. It's the same thing. So I'm inclined to think that Claude or other LLMs, perhaps this won't work. I don't know. At least I know that in any Markdown file, only the headers, the bolding and all stuff like this works. The links and other more advanced stuff don't.
Nice formatting. And let's do.
In his case, he only had the bullet points and the bolding. That's it.
Incremental.
Then, that's one chapter. Now, regardless of AI and Markdown, now he's using his first repetition. Now, that's already a violation of incrementalism. It's fine. So, strictly speaking, incremental reading doesn't have to be incremental to call it incremental reading. It's just you stay on the surface. You sacrifice the incrementalism. That's why Piotr Wozniak always does this, because it's the easiest. If I do a video to showcase a new feature, the easiest solution is this. But the other side of the coin is that it can be misleading. So first, it's unlikely you'll do it right away, unless it's very high priority. We could say that in his collection, 4.6 is enough high priority to do it like that. That's one thing. First, he's creating a monster flashcard, a monster cloze deletion. He's only closing decrease, nano levels, particularly ends here.
You know,
The flashcard ends this, a beta 42. But he's using the entire thing. That will be done when you are, let's say, a pro, because you will be quickly able to reward that and take out the information. Don't take this as the norm, that in incremental reading you just do this low effort thing and move on. Not only that, is that he does 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 all at the same repetition. Where's the incrementalism here? Don't take this as the example. It's to showcase the feature. He basically reads the entire thing, and not just that, could you see in his case his quickness? So from his first time reading, because that's a cold read, it's the first time he's reading this, how quick he makes the judgment, hey, I want to remember that, make the close deletion. It becomes second nature for him.
low brain. And decrease in tau proteins. Okay, and we're done with incremental reading part.
Incremental reading part. Where's the incremental? The reading, yes, the incremental reading in the very broad aspect of incremental reading.
I'm done, but for very important things, I like to do a little bit of refresher.
If you're done, you apply done. Ctrl-Shift-Enter right away.
Just to be sure it's all well established in my brain. So
This should be true. If now you want to review this now, immediately, if it's critical knowledge, it's crucial in the sense that you have to know this by heart because you have a lot of things that built on top and it's critical. Let's say you are a surgeon and you found, oh yeah, it's been a while I don't do this thing, and oh, I thought I was mixing with something else. No, you really want to refresh the memories, get it right, and have this easy to recall and write, right? So, okay, in this case, yes. But other than that, in incremental reading, just wait. Just wait.
I'll add all those things to final drill and run a quick final drill. My final drill queue is empty.
Final drill is a procedure of reviewing a set of questions until all answered correctly. Not necessarily correctly, 4 or 5. If you put 3, which is success, they will still remain in the final drill. Another consequence is that the final drill is considered a different learning stage, which is optional, by the way. And one of the consequences is that the repetitions you do are not logged. So what you could do first is add everything to the outstanding queue. But if you process that, what will happen? That if you add to the outstanding queue, the elements that have been seen, reviewed already today will be skipped. The other option is add all to the outstanding. You said without scheduling, but add all to outstanding. Yes, you will be able to do it once again, but it's rescheduling. It's messing with the algorithm. You don't want to do that. So therefore, one of the solutions is to use the final drill.
Actually, I don't use final drill, but in this case,
He says he doesn't use a final drill. No SuperMemo user, let's say no incremental reader actually uses the final drill at the end of the day.
I can use final drill just to refresh those things and keep them well in memory when first repetition.
And in this case, that is critical knowledge, you will activate, in case you have this disabled, you activate the final drill temporarily, just for today, and that's it.
Control space.
Why the intervals are short? The intervals, the first interval from a close deletion is calculated purely by priority. There's some fuzziness, but the priority is the only element you can control. Since he did a lot of close deletions from the source, the same text. But the priority is always inherited, yes, but the priority is also changed. Every single time that he did a close deletion, as a side effect, SuperMemo has increased the priority of that element, of the parent. So every time he did a close deletion, the parent had a different priority. Let's say if we can see that. Do you see it's just 5% or 41,651 position?
Delete some fluff. Perhaps convert Markdown. Incremental already. I know what CSF, so
38,575.
I'll grab them together.
37,491.
Data amyloid levels, particular.
34.
Indeed interesting as well. Alzheimer's disease. That's perhaps put them. Why
32.
Information on some amyloid.
Below 4% already.
Plaques in the brain. These plaques will be a certain okay,
30.
reduction in CSF and accumulate in the brain. Maybe the cause should be marked. Less found
28.
in the CSF. So less is found.
So one of the consequences of this outlier case that he's neglecting of all of the incrementalism is that each time the priority is higher and higher. So the priority that is inherited, usually it's 0.1% up or down, something like that, is kept. Every time it's 0.1 above or below, what happens is that it has decreased almost 2% already. That's why when you see all of the children, they have different priorities. This video has been published today, January 9th, but this was shot like last month. It's been more than a month. The first repetition was the day after recording. You're today. And the interval, as I mentioned, I have a video on that. The higher the priority, the lower the interval will be. Then he now filtered just items. He only had one parent, so there are other filters that will achieve the same thing in this context. But yeah, you only one. In the final drill, what you're getting? Only items. There are no topics or concepts or tasks in the final drill, so it's actually not required. Save drill, one of the very obscure features. You're adding this to the final drill. In case they're not in the final drill, they will be in the final drill. And you know that once they are in the final drill, they will be in the final drill unless you rate the answer as 4 or 5. The recall, I mean. So from now on, no repetition he's doing will be registered, logged. And now he goes to the final drill explicitly because it's very unlikely you finish the outstanding. So you force this jump. It's some kind of a subset review using the final drill for the sake of repeating more than once the same review, the same repetition on the same day. As a consequence, it's not logged by SuperMemo because in SuperMemo you cannot do one repetition, more than one repetition on the same day, on the same element.
Final drill. Reduction in CSF as
now you see the cloze deletions, and this is the first repetition in the flashcard form, and it's where you should delete all of those extra sentences, and later on, iteratively, refine the question until it becomes atomic.
more amyloid beta accumulates in the brain plaques. What's found in the CSF? Less of it. Okay, less of.
He already got it. Less of this. So as the more is this sentence, this happens, this can be deleted until diagnosis, the end. So where you have the cursor, alt point, delete after the cursor, gone. For whatever reason, he's not doing anything. Usually, actually one of his rules is one memory, one action. So every time you do a review, you do one change. Could be just reassessing the priority, applying a template, not necessarily reformulating. But in this case, because it's a monster cloze deletion, you will take all of this extra text.
Okay. I'll put formulation next time. The decrease in cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay. And he's familiar. He knows just the acronym. So if he only does the acronym, it's fine for him. And again, this ends in 42. All of this is extra information not required.
Less is found in cerebrospinal fluid. That's redundant. That's okay.
Do you see he's sacrificing interleaving? It's always the same chunk of text. So now he's being primed. This weakens your recall. That's why, hey, it's final drill. It's not being locked. So you're not putting the interval longer and longer to the future. This is useful if everything is very new to you that I really need to refresh. And you do the refreshing within SuperMemo, not outside. And then you do the flashcards. It just makes sense.
Detection in CSF. So as more accumulates in the brain, less is found in the CSF. The decrease in the cerebrospinal fluid CSF beta amyloid beta, indicates a high burden of amyloid. Plaques in the brain. The plaques in the brain, that's easy. One follows the other, no problem. Is indeed an interesting aspect of Alzheimer's disease. Use diagnostic marker for Alzheimer's disease.
So what he's doing is an example of what you don't need to do. That's why don't date is an example. What he's doing is misrepresenting incremental reading. He doesn't do that. He said he doesn't do flash final drill. At the top of that, this flow, he doesn't do it. It's the most antagonistic example of the regular incremental reading. Yes, still very, very scarcely, but fits in the description of incremental reading. But it's just saying like chess is a sport, not a game, because it has competence, is federated, and has a physical demand above resting. Yes, above resting, because you just move the pieces with your hand, physically. It's more than just resting. So, okay, very strictly, that fits the description, but he's using the cloze deletions. Yes, he's doing learn and learn to show me the next answer, but you know what I mean? If you're a noob, please don't think that is incremental reading at all.
Clearly redundant. That's only strengthen the memory in different contexts. That's good. The decrease in cerebrospinal fluid, amyloid beta levels,
all of this now makes sense because it's short-term memory. After a while, if you do leave the flashcards like that, you will think, what I'm being asked, like this. The blank in cerebrospinal fluid, beta levels, particularly AB42, are indeed interesting aspect of Alzheimer's disease. Here's why Nana is what I'm being asking here.
Levels.
Yep, that's all. So those are my 2 cents. I already did my 2 cents written form. It's been like, it didn't refresh 0 seconds ago. Let me refresh. Yeah, now it has been 1 hour. So those are my 2 cents. Longer 2 cents, but I wanted to make sure you got everything. It's been my pleasure, and remember that if you want to use SuperMemo, you can get it with 20% off using my link. Only using my link. It will be cheaper. Buy a new key or just update. If you want to update to SuperMemo 19, which is cheaper, with my link, it's even 10% cheaper. Link in the description. That's all for now. See you incrementally.